Harrod?
Yes, sir?
Is that autopsy report done yet?
Few more minutes, sir.
What is that?
Oh, hello, sir. Lady Fincher and I are working on a new device that's going to help our crime scene investigations.
Really? How's that?
Well, you see, Lady Fincher can tell you.
Oh, it's, just a device that will help to locate blood even though you can't see it.
Really? You came up with that?
Well, I mean, no. Poppy was the one who original...
Of course she did. She's just being too modest.
But
That's really incredible of you... guys. Keep up the good work.
Here you are, sir.
Thank you. Detective Goodman hasn't been here lately, has she?
Yeah, she was here yesterday. She wanted to meet with Lady Fincher.
Oh, yes. Do you need to know what we talked about?
No, that's okay. I've got a case to work on anyway. Good luck to you. I'm interested to see how that device works when it's finished.
What?
So this is where you work, huh? I was expecting more, honestly.
Detective Lin?
That's Detective Lynn Yoster.
Oh, Detective Leroy Yamster? It's so great to finally meet you. I've heard so much about you.
Do you have maggots in your brain or something? I just said it's Detective Lynn Yoster.
Yes.
Yes?
Yes, I do have maggots in my brain.
Look, Detective Lin Yoster, we just wanted to ask you some questions about the investigation.
Why? You're not a detective, and this is my case. Speaking of which, shouldn't you be helping Barnes with that blood detector? And what the hell are you supposed to be?
Well, what does it look like I am? Actually, don't answer that. You'll just get it wrong like everything else so far.
Listen, you little piece of...
Let's watch that temper, Lestrade. Gotta make sure we stay professional,
Enough! Harrod, tell me what's going on, right now, or I swear to God, you'll be packing up your desk by morning.
This is Danny. He's a private investigator.
Really? You hired a private detective?
Oh, of course not. For personal reasons, my client must be kept confidential. Dear Frank is merely assisting me.
Sir, could you please tell us about the details of the case? We just want to find out what is going on.
Whatever. It's an open and shut case. We have an eyewitness placing the suspect at the scene of the crime. The suspect's paw prints were on the weapon, a scalpel, which he got from who knows where. Not only that, his prints were found all over the crime scene.
Wait, you don't know where the scalpel came from?
How should I know? All I know is that the bastard used it to stab Jane.
Interesting. And what did you think of Jane's secret lab?
Wait, Jane? Secret lab? What are you talking about?
Oh, but of course. I assume that you found it too, seeing as that our friendly garden snake was seen poking his ugly mug in there.
Lewis. This is my case, damn it! He thinks he can slither in and out of cases all willy-nilly and snake this thing out from under me.
Detective Lynn Yoster?
No, I didn't find any secret lab. But that doesn't matter. It doesn't change the fact that his prints were on the weapon and at the crime scene.
Wow, you are so wrong.
Danny!
I mean, really, you apparently haven't set foot in that secret lab, yet you are already willing to dismiss it entirely. Not to mention you keep changing the subject anytime information's brought up about poor old Jane.
Danny?
If she were truly your friend, I'd like to think that you would want to meticulously sift through every detail to find the real truth, but instead you're rushing investigations, cutting corners, and ignoring blatantly obvious details in order to get this case under wraps as quickly as possible. If you ask me, I'd say you're trying to hide something.
Danny!
You're not seriously accusing me of killing her, are you?
Maybe, maybe not. The question of your involvement in this remains a mystery to me for now, but you're definitely hiding something. Think fast!
What the... Ah!
What the
Oh, Larry. Stealing from a crime scene, are we? Isn't that against the law?
Return those to me! Now!
Oh, no. We have a right to look at them since we're also investigators in this case.
They don't have anything to do with the case. Return them now!
Don't have anything to do with the case, huh? Then why does this note ask you to meet Jane in the location of her exact murder a mere hour before she was killed?
That's none of your business, rat!
Lynn, are you concealing evidence? Does Gracie know about this?
The bracelet, now!
I don't know, Lenny. You seem mighty suspicious. Fitting for a lowly trash panda.
That's it! Return that bracelet to me, and both of you exit the premises now, before I make you.
Very well, I guess. But you do know that we'll find the truth eventually.
I'm going to check out this secret lab of yours. If I or Detective Goodman see either one of you inside that police station, I will arrest both of you myself. Got it?
But...
Got it?
Yes, sir.
Why did you have to egg him on like that? Now I can't get back to work!
Don't worry about that. We can still go inside. It's not like he's doing a great job of keeping an eye on us.
This is not going to end well.
Any chance we could meet that ferret friend of yours?
Maybe. If she's not in her office, she's probably in the forensics lab.
Good. Let's check there first. It'll give me a chance to meet Jane Fincher.
You can't be serious.
Frank, how am I supposed to solve a crime when I don't even know what the victim looks like?
What are the chances Detective Lynn Yoster did it?
Well, let's just say the odds aren't exactly in his favor.
What do you mean?
Well, you saw the way he acted when I questioned him. I'm just annoyed that I couldn't get him to spill anything while he was angry.
Wait, you did that on purpose?
What, you think I like to get under people's skin for fun?
Yes.
Well, you're not entirely wrong. But in the instance of the good old detective, I had another goal in mind. You see, when people get angry, their logical reasoning tends to diminish rapidly, usually making them admit something in the process. However, that detective is going to be harder to crack than I thought.
Yoster, he wears gloves.
What about that?
Well, if you wear gloves, you can hide your paw prints, meaning he could have picked up the scalpel without leaving any kind of evidence on it, which would only leave Randy's prints.
Not bad, Aaron. Not bad.
It looks like she's not here.
That's disappointing. Interesting little setup you've got here.
We don't have a lot of time here, so could you just see what you need to see and let's get out of here?
Fine. See a little patience, Herod. Which one?
Middle drawer, red light.
You sure you don't want to help me out here? You are the expert after all.
Yeah, I'm sure. You got this.
Wait, what's this?
Huh? Is something wrong?
It's nothing. Just a bit of trash next to your fancy little machine here. No big deal.
All right then.
since you won't look at the body, I can only assume that Poppy did the autopsy report.
Yeah.
Well, on the bright side, Poppy didn't forge the autopsy report. Everything seems to check out. However, I find it interesting that Detective Lenny Yennings didn't take note of the bruising on her neck and front paws. Strange marks for a mouse to make, especially since they weren't post-mortem.
Ow.
Gracie, what are you doing in Jane's office?
Oh, hi, Frank. Who is that?
Wow, I feel like I've been introducing myself a lot lately. Danny DeComp, miss.
He's just here to help solve Jane's murder.
But the murder has already been solved.
Come on, Gracie. You can't possibly think Randy did it, can you?
What's in the bag?
Oh, I, forgot my textbook here yesterday and I just came to get it back. Silly me. Oh, there it is. Anyway, I, should probably get going. Shouldn't keep Detective Lynn Yoster waiting.
Yeah. Speaking of which, could you not tell him you saw us here?
Yeah, why?
Long story.
Yeah, sure.
Oh, yeah, Gracie. One more thing.
Yeah?
Where's Randy?
You know I can't. Room 1887.
Man, is everyone here hiding something?
Well, you're the one who said everyone has secrets.
Are you turning my words against me? Unbelievable, Harriet. I thought we'd become closer than that.
Still not friends, DeComp.
Right. Whatever you say, buddy. Man, someone should really light a candle in here.
Randy!
Frank, is that you?
Randy, are you okay? What happened to you?
That raccoon guy beat the crap out of me. If it wasn't for Gracie, I'd probably already be dead. Not that it really matters. I'm going to be dead pretty soon anyway.
Calm down, Randy. We aren't going to let that happen. Right, Danny?
I mean, we might not let that happen.
Danny.
Might?
Well, I mean, the police have a pretty tight case against you, Mr. whatever your name is. And based on the way they've treated you, I doubt they're going to give you a fair trial. So, unless we're able to find some sort of smoking gun that we can use to exonerate you, you're pretty much beast fodder. So, if I were you, I'd start talking to whatever you think is above these lowly sewer grates and pray like hell for a quick death.
Danny, stop it!
No! 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 I don't want to die, Frank! Don't let him execute me!
Randy, the beast is just some myth started by some false rumors.
Yeah, stop your crying, you big baby. I'm just messing with you.
Huh?
So far, the only thing these idiot cops around here have gotten to the bottom of is a case of donuts.
Wait, so the evidence against me?
It's based entirely off of false testimony. And before you ask, you giant idiot, no, there is no beast.
So I'm not gonna die?
Well, if we don't prove your innocence, you will be executed, most likely by hanging. But at least you don't have to worry about being eaten, right?
Ugh.
What is wrong with you? Do you really have to go and piss off everyone I know?
Ah, come on. What are friends for if not to irritate the hell out of the other people in your life?
Oh yeah, Frank, I see how it is. Your best bud gets charged with murder, beaten half to death, might get killed, and you go out and find another rodent buddy who, might I add, smells like he's been rotting in a garbage dump for 3 days?
Now that's just rude.
He's not my friend. He's supposed to be helping me help you.
Oh, well, did you have to go about it in such a mean way?
Yes, I did.
Oh, come on! I'm already being tried for a murder that I didn't commit. Do you really have to torment?
Don't worry about him. Just tell us what happened that night.
Oh, that night... Well, last I saw you, I ran off to my job interview, right? The interview was at Paul's bookshop. You know, the one on the other side of town? Well, after parting ways with you and Gracie, I headed straight that way. It was a bit of a walk, took me a while to get there, But you should be proud. I made it on time, and I think my interview went really well.
Are we gonna get to the part where someone gets murdered? Because I'm bored.
I'm getting there. Anyway, the interview went so well that the owner decided to give me sort of a trial task. She wanted me to restock the books on the shelf, because obviously, due to her small stature, it was something that she struggled with. But there were so many books! I honestly don't think I finished up until around 10 that night.
10 at night? Really?
Yeah, I hope I made a good impression, because my feet sure were sore after that. I was on my way back when I suppose I may have taken a wrong turn or two. These sewer systems can get so confusing. I'd never been that far out of town before, you know?
Wait, you mean to tell me you got lost for 2 whole hours?
Well, yeah. I mean, I was lost and I was tired and I was hungry, so I stopped at a bar for a bite because it was the only place that was open at the time. But they kicked me out before I could even get my food because I fell asleep at the table. So then I had to ask for directions from some weird stranger with no teeth. But he wasn't much help because I couldn't understand a word he said. So finally, after all that, I saw a landmark I recognized, and shortly after, I stumbled upon that girl's dead body. I was so shocked I screamed and I ran down that hallway, and it wasn't long after that I was tackled to the ground and being accused of killing that poor girl!
So those prints at the crime scene, you mean you were actually stupid enough to run through her blood?
I did? I guess I didn't notice.
Boy. Your stupidity knows no bounds, Mr. Fallen.
Wait, you ran down the hallway next to the scene of the crime?
Yeah.
That's odd. How did you not see?
Something wrong, Herod?
Nothing, it's not important.
Needless to say, after your colorful recounting of the situation, I know for certain that you couldn't have committed this crime.
See? I told you!
I know this for certain because clearly someone who is so idiotic as to leave his own prints at the crime scene couldn't possibly have committed the crime.
Thank you! I mean, what? Hey!
Anyway, this makes it clear to me that there are only 3 potential suspects in this case.
There are?
There are?
There are. Suspect number 1, Detective Louis Annie.
Okay, now that's not even close.
You mean the raccoon guy?
The very same.
Well, what makes you suspect him?
Elementary, my friend. When Frank and I questioned him earlier, we discovered a note in his possession written by the victim asking him to meet her a mere hour before she died, which means that he was with the victim at least some time before she was killed. Not only this, but he had her bracelet.
Okay, come on, Danny. I know that note is suspicious, but the bracelet?
Oh, you have a theory on that, do you?
Well, not really a theory, but you know as well as I do that him having her bracelet could have just been a coincidence. Like, maybe she gave it to him while they were talking as a gift or for safekeeping? Is that all you have to say?
No, I was just reading the room to see if anybody was going to jump in and explain how wrong you are, or if I was going to have to do everything myself, like always. Anyone? No one? Okay then, let's begin. First of all, Herod, your observations and reasonings aren't entirely improbable, and given your blatant experience, I'm willing to chalk them up to an idea that was at least halfway thought out. But had you not so rudely interrupted me, you would have known that when I held the good doctor's bracelet, I detected a small bloodstain on it. Now, this could have been from anything, especially if the victim wore it frequently, but the bracelet in its entirety had been wiped down and cleaned, not thoroughly on account of the smears and streaks all over it, but rather rapidly, almost as though someone had been trying to erase incriminating evidence. I'm going to take a wild guess and say that he was the first one to arrive on the scene of the crime after the call was made, right?
Yes.
You see, Lemmings Yodel had both the time and opportunity to at least cover something up. I doubt that lazy blue bunny would even bat an eye if a police officer was examining a crime scene. Now, is it so improbable to imagine that he killed Jane, tried to wipe the evidence of his involvement off that bracelet but got spooked, possibly by our unfortunate fall guy here, and simply took the bracelet because the bracelet disappearing would be easier to explain than the presence of his own blood, fur, or dandruff?
Wow, if that guy did it, why did he have to beat me up so much then? Kinda rude. My face hurts.
Moving swiftly along, suspect number 2, Prince Noodleface.
Do names mean anything to you?
The only thing we have on Prince Noodleface is how he arrived in that suspicious-looking lab.
Snakes are pretty sneaky. You could be in a room with one and never even know.
Good boy, Randy. You're starting to learn how to use that thing inside of your head known as a brain.
Hey.
Not to mention, he is a snake, and snakes don't have prints to leave, do they?
I suppose not.
Does he normally wear glasses?
Huh? Why are you asking that?
Just answer the question, Squishy.
No, but he does have a monocle on his left eye.
I see.
Why?
Pure curiosity. Moving on. Lastly, the fretful ferret.
Gracie?
You think Gracie's a suspect?
Herod, those feelings are getting the better of you again. Gracie's the most suspicious of all three of them, with that satchel and those shifty beady eyes. Not to mention, she's the only one besides you, Herod, who both saw Randy pick up the scalpel and had the opportunity to take it herself.
Well, what about Lynn and James? They could have taken the scalpel.
Right you are. But while it is possible that both Leo and Jimmy Von Noodleface could have taken it without leaving prints, neither of them actually had the opportunity to do so, because according to your time frame, neither one of them were inside the forensics lab when the scalpel in question was taken. Now, back to our musky mustelid. Does she always carry that satchel around?
No, but...
Was she carrying it around on the day of the murder?
That's...
Herod?
Yes...
Well, then she could have very easily placed it in her bag. The only tricky part is how she would have been able to stab Dr. Fincher without getting her prints on the weapon.
How do we know it's not just some random murderer? How do we know it had to be someone in the police department?
Oh, Herod. And I thought you were starting to see the bigger picture. It's very simple, really. The culprit has to be someone who saw Randy pick up the scalpel, so they could then later frame him for murder.
Frank, why did you let me touch that thing?
I told you not to!
Not only that, but there was something very striking about the victim's face in those photographs. You can tell a lot about a person based on their facial expression when they die, and the face that I saw in Dr. Fincher was one of shock and of betrayal. If this was some random murder, her face would have merely resembled pain, but the story on the good doctor's face leads me to believe that the killer was somebody that she knew, somebody that she trusted. But that could literally be anybody, so we have to narrow the scope. This person must also be somebody with the authority to cover things up, such as an elite officer, a detective, or a police officer, and so on, right? This, of course, rules out sweet Miss Barnes, who would have most likely tampered with the autopsy report if her paws were dirty, which leaves us only those three. Unless you have something you want to admit, Herod.
What? Of course not.
Only joking, Herod. I know you're harmless.
Not to mention, all we have to do to check her alibi was ask Miss Elizabeth Price.
Correct.
That would also rule out Scarlett Jones, since she would have no way of covering things up. She also confused the scalpel for a knife, insinuating she never looked at it long enough to see the difference. Not to mention, she wasn't seen at the police department the day of the crime.
Correct again. And she didn't seem to know Jane personally either, judging by the way she addressed to her as the squirrel rather than by her name like she did with Randy here. Despite them both being in the ABS, I doubt she had any real connection to Scarlett and vice versa.
Speaking of Scarlett, I've been meaning to ask you something, Randy. Did you two really date?
Who?
Scarlett.
Oh, Scarlett. I mean, kinda?
What do you mean, kinda?
Is this really important right now?
Fine then. But with all that said, this still leaves one very important thing you are forgetting.
Oh, really?
What's the motive? What reason do any of them have for killing Jane?
Motive? That hardly matters.
Of course it does. You are way more likely to be killed for a reason than you are by some bloodthirsty serial killer.
I could probably help with that. Or at least explain why Gracie couldn't be the culprit.
Oh, geez, this'll be great.
Like I said before, Gracie saved me from being beaten to a pulp by that raccoon guy. After she saved me, she said she was going to go through every piece of evidence she could to help me out. If she killed Jane, then wouldn't she not want to save me?
You sure Ferretface wasn't just playing the good cop while Levi was playing the bad cop? Pretty common routine.
Of course not. I think.
We should probably check back in with Gracie then. We have to know what was in her satchel.
Couldn't have said it better myself, Frankie boy.
Wait, Frank!
Huh?
Promise me you'll hear Gracie out. I know she didn't do this.
Of course, Randy. She's my friend.
Lewis! Why are you poking your stubby nose into my case? You don't get to not even check in this morning, then pop out of nowhere and steal my job.
Many apologies, Detective. However, this case is now linked to the ABS investigation, which means that it is under my jurisdiction. And you know as well as I do that I can't let the director down.
This is personal, Lewis.
I understand that. Really, I do. But maybe you should consider your personal attachment to the victim as a reason why you should leave this case to me. It is leading close to conflict of interest. Food for thought.
Stupid little shit. Thinks he has the right to take my case from me. Wonder how he can even examine a crime scene without his fancy little monocle.